Welcome to Speaking of Conflict, the podcast where we discuss subjects around mediation and intercultural communication. I'm Lisa.
And I'm Teresa.
And today we're going to talk about
a model. It's developed by a psychologist and it looks at the needs we have. Because Riemann came from the field of psychology and did like analytic sessions. And he figured out like we all have 4 needs.
Okay.
And the needs he found was basically the need for distance. So how much distance we need from another person.
Like the physical distance.
But also emotional distance, like
Okay.
time for myself. It could be also autonomy, independence, like, you know, it's distance basically.
Okay.
And then you have the opposite of closeness. How much closeness do you need? Like connection, belonging, interaction.
But is that in the same point or the 2 different points?
It's basically 2 different points on a
But
scale.
like they are connected to each other, basically.
They're opposite, but every person has a different amount of what they need. So we do not all have the same need for distance or closeness. And then there's another scale, which is duration and change. And duration basically means stability, structure, predictability. Like I need a plan. I want to know what's coming. And the change is being spontaneous. Change, innovation, new ideas, creativity. That's basically the opposite scale. And spoiler, we all need all 4. But we have a different amount of what we need. So the question is, how much closeness do you need? How much distance do you need? How much change and how much duration? The colleague who frustrates you the most may not be difficult. They may simply need something very different from you. Have you ever worked with someone and thought, why do they like to do everything alone? Or the opposite, why do they always want to check in again and again and I just want to get done with my work? Chances are that you are not dealing with a difficult person. You are just dealing with a different need. In the 1960s, the German psychologist and psychoanalyst Fritz Riemann described 4 fundamental human needs that shape how we experience the world. Later, Christoph Thomann adapted these ideas for communication, conflict resolution, and organizational context. The core idea is simple. Every person needs both closeness and distance, both stability and change, but not in the same proportion. And often, these different proportions create tension. The 4 dimensions are distance, the need for autonomy, independence, and clear boundaries. Closeness, the need for connection, warmth, and belonging. Duration, the need for stability, structure, and predictability. And change, the need for variety, spontaneity, and new possibilities. We all carry 4 needs within us, but some are stronger than others. And those needs influence how we communicate, how we make decisions, and how we respond to pressure. It is important to know that Riemann did not develop his ideas through a large-scale survey with thousands of participants. His work grew out of clinical experience and case-based observations. In other words, the model is insightful and practical, but it should not be treated like a statistically validated personality test. This is also one of the main critics. The model simplifies complex human behaviors into 4 broad tendencies. That can be very helpful for reflection, but it can become misleading if we use it to label people too quickly. So the Riemann-Thomann model is useful when it helps us to move from judgment to curiosity. So the next time a colleague's behavior puzzles or frustrates you, pause before you label it and ask yourself, What need might be driving this? Because most conflict is not about a bad intention, it's about unmet needs that nobody has named yet. Before we jump deeper into it, I want to ask you, what do you think about me? Like, how much change, how much duration, closeness, and distance do I need?
I feel you are very social. Like I feel like you vibe with others, you like to have a good time to and to connect and to share. But I also know you that you do your stuff and you wanna continue and get further with the stuff that you create, right? Like there's no one else that does it with you. So you need the time for yourself to work on that or to take your time. I mean, taking your time for yourself is a bit difficult for you. But I mean, like the things that you thrive, like that you want to get further. So I think I don't know where I would place you, but I think that's also dependent where you are right now, like how much you have to do. Do you then say, right now I will meet a little bit less the people I want to because I need the time for myself, but not to recover, and more like the resource time. So I don't know. Maybe you can give me a hint later what you think, because I think it depends on what's going on in your life.
So for
Otherwise,
now,
I would still think you need more connection or closeness than the distance. Because even if you don't have time to meet everyone, you're still like in contact with quite some people, like over the phone or calling or chatting with people and catching up. So I would say you're more in the closeness section than in the distance section. I mean, right now you're in a very changing environment, right? Like, and also I feel you're curious and you want to figure out stuff and new stuff. So I would say change, even though you need your stability in the structure. So I would say you're a structured kind of change girl. Like, let's make the change, but let's make it great. Like, let's trust the change I'm throwing myself into. So I think you're very open and like curious and would love to get further new things. And I don't see you making one thing like for the next 40 years. So except when you're really passionate about, but even in that, then in the field you would develop further and make the change.
I think
So I think that's more the section.
I mean, I definitely can relate to what you said. I'm definitely a person who likes change. If I see something where I'm like, it's not perfect right now, I'm the first person who tries to throw in an idea to change, to adjust.
Yeah.
It was in my old workplace. That is now when I'm doing my own business. If and developing, like having new ideas, new thoughts, new projects, getting better, learn something new. This is definitely something that drives me.
Yeah.
And like with the podcast, right? It's also something new. We're trying it out.
Yeah.
We are learning, we are developing, and also having an impact, right? I feel like it makes sense to talk about this topic because people are not talking about it, and that's also something where I feel like it will change maybe some perspective of people in a conflict and how they manage conflicts. And I would also relate to the that I'm more a person who's close than distant. Like I like autonomy and independence. That is something I need, but I'm also a person who has no problem to adjust to a group and compromise kind of what the group wants, and then put my own wishes behind, kind of. And I think from like this objective person, many people tell me I have a big friends group. Like the amount of people I'm in contact with is quite big compared to others. So I think that would probably also more place me in the connectiveness place, even though I also need independence and autonomy, and I like to be able to do whatever I want, right? But if I have to decide, probably I would be more in the connectiveness, group oriented field. So yeah, that's definitely right. How would you place yourself?
I mean, I guess it depends. Like, because for example, with the closeness and the distance, I really like to be with people, but I also value just the time I have for myself. But I think I would also say it's a little bit more the closeness, but it's kind of, I mean, we are not really explaining like how that would look like, right, to the amount. But for example, I like to connect more like on a personal level than like just make a quick phone call, and this with like a lot of people. You know, like this is just the difference. And I think I like to connect with the people that are really close to me. But
the how is different.
but the how
I
is
think that's
different.
also different for us. Like I think we both enjoy most when we spend time with people.
Yeah.
But I think I would be a little bit more often the person who would reach out and send a message or call.
Yeah.
But you are the one who are when you're there 100% there, and you would not. Maybe I still have a meeting, a phone call at the day, and I would be, but the rest I'm there, and you would, when you're there, you're there. So I think the how is different for us, even though we place ourselves probably in a different, in the same
category. I mean, I like some stability and I like some duration, but not in as long as it's still fun for me. Like I'm not afraid of change. It's more like the aspects that belong to it. I'm not like super that I want change all the time, but I like a good change. You know, like when something is really interesting me and I want to like do something new, I would do that then. You know, but it's I could not see myself seeing as well one thing for the rest of my life, also because I don't think I will only do one thing. So I think there's always a changing part in it, like how I spend my time or what I work on. I would love to have more possibilities around.
So you're definitely a person who's open to change and innovation. But compared to me, I would place you more on the scale.
Yeah.
The scale of duration and stability, I would place you higher. Because I think also, I don't know how you connect with people and how you keep friendship. I feel like you're way more stable in that. Maybe you're not the person who calls 5 times a week or 5 times a month. Definitely not. Might be that we are not hearing from each other half a year because you are in a different country living right now.
Yeah.
But you always, like when you're home, you always call the friends from school.
Yeah.
You call everyone.
Yeah.
Where I'm sometimes, okay, maybe I made also new friends. I'm also having fun with them. And you are also the person when you call who will always show up.
Yeah.
So I feel like maybe you don't like structured in a way of planning like a Excel sheet. That's not you. But stability in the way you connect with people, I think you're stronger than me. I think maybe my stability is more I make an Excel sheet, I make a structure, I make a plan with dates and everything.
Yeah. That's true. But it's very interesting to think about, like, because it's, as we said, we're a little bit similar in the categories, except the last maybe one. But then the how is just different, right? Because this is what I mean. Because like to even answer that before what you asked regarding you or me, it's like hard for me because it's concepts, but the hows are not in there. It's just like, okay, place it there and there, but you like, hang on, it's like this, but then you're like this and this because of this. And I think, but it's very interesting to think about like what do you actually need. And I guess it's also very dependent on how's your daily situation. That's what I mean, depending on your job. Of course, when you're in a job where you're just sitting in the office by yourself, you have more need maybe to meet people. When it's exactly the opposite, maybe you have less need to then even have 5 more phone calls when you already talk to 30 people in a day, right? It's always depending on kind of what is your surrounding, what's your daily life, what is kind of the input you're constantly getting. Or do you live in a house with 7 siblings, you know? You maybe are not wanting to meet another 25 people.
But I think also it's a little, I would still say, yes, it changes by where you are at your life and also the surrounding. But I think it's also a little personality. Because I've also had a second thought, like, just compare how we do our hobbies or free time. I think you're way more stable. Like if I'm doing this new hobby, like I'm starting bouldering, you will go there constantly and do it regularly. Like I would be more, oh, let's try it out. I will do it for a few weeks and then I will do something else and then I will do this hobby again.
Maybe that's
right.
good
Like
example,
I think, for example, like if you say you start bouldering, you will maybe go 2 or 3 times a week bouldering and not doing anything else. I would be, oh, let's go Monday, I'm gonna go boulder, Tuesday I'm gonna go to yoga, and Thursday I'm gonna go for a run. And the other day I'm gonna, oh, let's try something new, something I haven't done before. So I'm more adventurous on that, and you're more stable by keeping
maybe that's true.
so that's also why I would place you higher on the scale of stability.
I mean, that one I thought more like in the daily life, the first aspect, this with because it's more social activity, kind of how much you just want to be yourself in whatever you do, and the other one is how much input, how much connection you're seeking for. And that was more the one that I see more changing regarding your situation. The other one, it seems more a personality thing. That's true. Like how much like you're wanting change, you have one new input, something that you can learn new, or yeah, that's nice. That's interesting.
Let's imagine, because we're also talking about conflicts.
Yeah.
Let's imagine you're in a workplace. You're at your office, and there's a new project coming, and you just started with a new group, the project, and you're managing it, and you have your colleagues, and you keep, I don't know, you've let's say you are out of the office at the end of the day. We're having dinner. We're just meeting as friends, and you're like, I really don't get that colleague. He's always like micromanaging everything. He wants to know everything about from me. He keeps asking me all the details. It's in the plan. I don't know why he keeps asking me all those details. I am so annoyed of that. And maybe maybe the colleague, the other colleague.
Yeah.
I'm meeting for a drink next week, and he keeps saying, Lisa, she's so vague. Like she's not giving me the details. And I don't get why she's like not managing to really make a plan. Like I feel like she's not making a plan. She's everywhere, and then I feel like she's not really interested in the project. She's not keeping up with that. So what could have happened?
I mean, first of all, it's like I don't know what the needs are with the transformation of this. But first, what I hear is, okay, there's definitely like not a good communication, right? Like because when two people having two different, like very different perspective on where they're at the project, if someone thinks like, oh, I see like her or I feel her, she's not really into it, then that is just a presumption. Like someone just thinks that and doesn't know that, and it's apparently not like, hey, where are you at in the process of the project? Can you tell me or whatever? I feel it's more like different communication styles. So it's I mean, when you said vague, I mean, it just reminds me on high and low context, but I don't know.
Interesting. We're gonna come to that
Yeah.
later as well. So what happened is that one person is more in the duration and stability need.
That
So they
section.
need
Okay.
structure. They are planning everything. They want to make sure we are always on the same page. This is why we discuss always what we are doing.
Okay.
And I keep telling you where I'm at the project, when are we finished, maybe we're gonna
Okay.
run late. I keep updating you, and you're like, I trust you, you will manage. I don't know why you are keep telling me. But since for me stability and accountability is so important, I keep telling you that.
And since I stay so vague, you get more and more the feeling I don't give it back to you.
Exactly.
Even though
because from my
probably
perspective, I would expect you also want stability.
Yeah.
You also want details, and you want to have a plan. And you are the manager, right? You're a project lead. You should definitely have the plan because you are responsible.
Yeah.
But you are, from a different perspective, saying, I don't need this much duration. I'm more in the change. And maybe I'm even more the distance part. Like maybe you place yourself more on the distance where you think autonomy is very important. I don't want to get in trouble. I feel you are an expert. You know what you do. I trust you. And when you have something, you come to me, but I will not interfere because I feel like it's your part. And they are maybe more to the connect this part as well, where they feel like, I want to involve her. I want to talk to her. I want to let her know where I am. And then basically those different needs cause confusion and also conflict.
Yeah.
Because what we think, we always think what I think is normal.
Yeah.
And this is our normal, and everything else we compare to our normal.
Yeah.
So if you are different at the map, I feel like something is wrong with you.
At the end, there's very high miscommunication, right? Because the one person is just like, yeah, where you at? This is where I am at. Maybe the other person even feels offended. Is like, does she think I cannot manage that? Or why she's asking me
Exactly.
1,000 questions? Maybe you're just like, okay, I will just not and listen to her. And apparently she needs that. I don't know why, but I will just not. And then the other person is more like, why is she not giving me anything back? But of course, when you swap it with stability, it's more like you need a constant kind of updating, being informed, knowing what's happening. And the other one is more flexible, maybe. This is not so linear. It's more like, okay, let's check, like have a checkup every once in a week and not every day.
What do you expect from a meeting? Also,
What
a
do-
great
Yeah,
example.
yeah.
Are we there to connect, to interact, to work together as a team, to feel connected as a team? Or are we there to exchange the most important points on the agenda, be really quick with it, not wasting anyone's time, and doing a quick meeting, done and set? Do we want to discuss the details, or are we just, okay, you do this, okay, nothing happened, okay, great, we're going to continue? The expectation of a meeting, and if a person is very much focusing on the connection and talking and taking time for that, because it's part of connecting,
Yeah, of course.
and the other one is very focused on facts and not on this connection part, this person will be super annoyed by how long the meeting will be run.
Yeah, of course.
And those are all those things. If you hear the model, you are like, yeah, of course that makes sense. But in every day, it's always it's
Yeah.
basically always sneaking in
Yeah.
in a way.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, everyone has different priorities too. Like, what's important to me to discuss it, but that is the way how to do it, right? Like, because you can get lost in communication and talk too much and too detailed. And yeah, that's I think another brilliant example to show how different we all are. And as you said, like, we walking through the world thinking we are normal. This is how I would do it. This is how I would communicate. This is how I would plan. This is how I would co-work with others. Of course, I let them know. Of course, I'm gonna ask them. But then you
Exactly,
go,
we think we
yeah,
are normal, right?
yeah.
So everything that is different from how we behave, we feel it's weird.
It's either weird or rude or disrespectful.
Exactly.
Wow.
So how to
Such
deal
great
with
bees
that?
we are.
So if we know this model,
Yeah.
it can really help us to make transparent where different people are. And by understanding that, the first step of finding a solution, how to deal with it, when to maybe work in which context, how, and
But there would be like a question, is that when, let's say, I hear that model for the first time, is then would you advise to first kind of, I guess so, I don't know, first kind of analyze to which category do I belong? Or would
to
you,
which extent?
to which
we are always
extent, of
we
course.
have everyone has everything, but
Yes.
just the question is if you have the
Where
same.
where is it more? Like, is it more important to reflect on your own to then know, okay, that's actually my needs, so I understand why I'm behaving like this, why I keep pushing to have a meeting or keep calling that person? Or is it more like, hey, try to observe your teammates and figure out what kind of where their scale is at? What is more?
I would say both. First, understand where you are,
Yeah.
then show each other where are we, and then I know, oh, you're at the end of the room. Hi.
Yeah.
So one thing could be great because the team is very diverse. So
Yeah.
probably you have all the skills you need in the team, which is great.
Yeah.
Which makes the work together maybe challenging because your expectations of how to work is different.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you then come to this point where you're like, hi, you're at the end of the room, nice to see you. How do we like work together? Maybe we have certain places where we can connect and some focus time, and that's not the meeting. Or maybe the meeting is like 20 minutes, and then we try to maybe have an opening with a coffee where we can connect, but the rest 15 minutes, the left 15 minutes is just focus, whatever. Like we can figure out what works best for us to meet the different needs in the team.
And this model, did you ever kind of use it in a mediation? Is that kind of a model that is quite useful for that kind of?
It's good for workshop, I would say.
Okay.
So if it's like a workshop that is also connected with conflict managing and it's not a traditional mediation, then I would use it. In special cases, I would maybe use it also to show the people where they are. So if the conflict is about the different needs all the time, I would say, hey, there's this model. Let's see where you are and make it transparent, and then use this as starting point of communicating together. So yes, yes, I use it, and also besides mediation, it's nice to have it in workshops, in team workshops, where you would try to bring the team together and understand how they work. And
yeah, it's really interesting. I mean, I feel like a lot of communication models or needs, and because the needs are transferring into communication, right? It's like also with the cultural dimensions, a lot of overlapping, but it's still like a little bit different. But
let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Because I actually also wanted to talk about it with you. So just for those who have watched the other episode of Hofstede's Dimensions, there are some similarities, and I also want to ask you which you see, just to give the others context. One important difference is that Hofstede comes from the field of intercultural communication. He did a large-scale research where he interviewed using statistic, like different people from one company all over the world. So now we also have the Riemann-Thomann model, where it's based on psychology, so on the individual level. And he only did analyze individuals in like psychological sessions.
Oh, okay.
So the way the research is done is completely different. While the one thing is looking from the society level, from the overall view, this model looks from the individual's perspective. What is the need of the individual? And the cultural perspective is looking from what is the perspective of the whole culture, of the whole group of people, which tendency is there. So just to give you the context, the way the research was done is very different. It was also done in very different fields. And what I also looked up after when I researched for the session was, is one model based on the other? It's not. So it's really coming from completely different research fields. But like you said, there are similarities. And maybe you want to give us a hint what you think.
I mean, like besides Hofstede, I think a little bit that goes in there. It was more from Edward T. Hall, is the high and low context culture. At least, like, I guess in the kind of updating, it would be important, right? So high and low context is like how actually direct are you verbally saying what you mean, or are you, that would be low context when you're very direct, and high context would be you will leave more pauses or mimic or stuff like this. So because when you said the other one was more like vague and not answering, that goes a little bit in this kind of high context culture. But regarding Hofstede, I would say kind of this social part, the distance and the closeness, I would rather think like individualism versus collectivism. Like that part, because individualism versus collectivism is connecting a lot of points, what you just said, you know, like
it's basically connecting the closeness and distance part.
you know, it's no, exactly.
So if I like my individuality, I like to be doing my own things, then I'm less collectivistic, right? I'm more individualistic. While when I'm more like connecting oriented, I want to connect with people, I'm more collectivistic. I'm more thinking with the group.
And you're more social in your general behavior. You want to have more like harmony and solution based on the connection with the people, like over communication directly.
You know, you have also uncertainty avoidance.
Yes.
Status.
Oh yeah, true.
So
true.
if I need stability and duration, I like a plan. I like a structure. Then I tend to probably avoid uncertainty also, right? Like I really want that. While when I'm changed, I like to be in uncertainty. It's no problem for me at all, right? Because change is always uncertainty. You never know what's coming, if it's working out. So also that is basically overlapping. Just it looks from a different angle on that scenario. And what I think this model would argue is basically that we all have those needs in every culture, in every country. However, there's also the culture lying on top of it.
Yeah, of course.
So we have this tendency within the culture, and then the individuals within the culture would place themselves a little bit differently, right?
Or literally, like when you do that in your workplace, like literally in the surrounding of the workplace, if it's a super structured and you have a manager that always wants to know everything you think and like you do and you work, and you thought before, yeah, I'm also like to plan, but then you look at your manager and like, okay, I'm way more relaxed regarding this, and then you come somewhere else. And so, yeah, I guess this is very depending on where you are right now, who is around you, and kind of what is the common sense. Like,
Exactly.
yeah.
So what can we take out of that? Why is that model interesting for cultural communication and for mediation and conflict resolution?
Tell us.
So, first, it basically explains behavior in both contexts. So it can be a starting point for a conversation to say, like I said, in the meeting when you work with a new team, or maybe also a team you have worked with many times that you feel like it's just getting tension. Let's use this model, place us where we would see ourselves, and then talk about it, how we manage, what do the other peers need, maybe they are also willing to adjust a little bit from their perspective. So that's the first thing. Talk about it and find yourself within it, and also find the whole team with that. And then the second is create a shared structure that honors the multiple needs. So if I know where you are, where I am at, and all my colleagues, I can now say, okay, how can we manage that your needs are fulfilled, my needs are fulfilled? To which extent is it possible that we agree on that, right? And then we can map out a plan and figure it out. And the third thing is we can use it as a diagnostic tool a little bit. So there's not like a test where you fill out and then I'm like, you 50% that and 20% that.
You are not good.
That's not how it works.
Failed.
But if you know there's tension, also use it specifically and say, is the tension maybe related to that?
Okay.
Because how we work and how our expectations are. And then it is the first step to understand the other person and see how we can move within this, and we can de-escalate the conflict by first understanding, because understanding is always the start for
Reflecting and understanding.
exactly, it's always the starting point. It's always important. And if we see where our needs clash, because maybe it's not consciously right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think most of it is not consciously, right? As you said, we just walk through the world thinking everyone is like us.
Yeah.
So we just assume, okay, why is that happening now? Like,
Exactly. If you consider that, that's already a great start for a conversation. And I think it's a good tool to solve conflicts. Of course, it needs to be integrated in the whole process of mediation, which we introduced with the 5 steps already. But use it as a tool to dig deeper, basically.
yes. I mean, I guess it's also more kind of going in the responsibility when we talk about workplace again, about people who lead a team, like that because when they're doing their like own kind of either performance interviews, talks, or just when you sit down with different members of the team, then you're actually the one already kind of analyzing what is that person needing from me, like how is the personality of that person, right? So I think that's kind of a nice model to think about the aspect of what do I need and what the person is needing. Like it's more like not, oh yeah, we communicate just differently, but it's more like what is behind the communication, like what is the actual need of, some people need more space to thrive, others need more people in the space to thrive. And also this kind of, is someone just focused on one task or multiple tasks and is able to do a lot of different things and have this constant changing and swapping from A to B, but at the end still delivering to the same good degree than someone who's just more durational focused or more like stability focused. So I think the most important to figure out what you need, because then you already know it can differ a lot.
Exactly.
When you already know, okay, I'm like this, then a lot of people are differently to yours. So that gives you a little bit of more tolerance to say you are just one out of many different people,
And also considered with the context of culture, communication, like when you're like, it's good to know that cultures have different behaviors or come from different expectations and learn different cultural behaviors. But have in mind that underneath this, there's an individual need.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of what if under cultural communication or cultural diversity, there's also a different human need you want to understand. And if you first get the context of the culture and then dive deep, what's the need of the individual, you're very good.
Yeah.
Like, you're on a good starting point to understand the other person.
You already made it far, I would say.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Nice.
See you in 2 weeks.
See you in 2 weeks.